Good morning. I'm British, I'm sorry. I'll try and speak slowly. I'll try. We mumble as a people. I'm Laura Walker-McDonald. I work for Social Impact Lab, or SIMLab, but you might know us more as the people who, until just the end of last year, I'll tell you a bit more about that, made Frontline SMS. So Frontline SMS is a piece of software that you can use to manage SMS traffic on your computer or in the cloud, or you can use a phone or a modem, or you don't even need the internet if you don't have internet where you're working. And it came out of the notion that in the developing world, where we were working at the time, mobile was everywhere. And if you could harness that power and put it in the hands of local community organizations, they could do pretty much anything. It was a solution looking for a problem, and it found them. We've been downloaded now over 200,000 times. We have a bunch of users in our cloud platform. It's been used in over 190 countries. It's a pretty big deal now. And just at the end of the last year, it turned into its own for-profit company. So that leaves SIMLab now looking more at how can we work with organizations to help you embrace and use all of the tools that really are available to the communities that you're working with. So we work with anything now that is available and cheap and sustainable and usable for the people in a place at a time. So here, that might be Twitter, for example. I know the Twitter feed is going great guns. But in many of the communities we work with, you're looking a little bit lower. You're looking at SMS, you're looking at voice calls, you're looking at radio, suggestion boxes, notice boards, actually having a meeting, talking to people, getting face-to-face with people. So that brings us to just last year when I moved to Washington, D.C. And in working in the US and the UK more, as I have been recently, I just don't see us really looking at this from a people-centric point of view. We're a lot of solutions looking for problems. It's like we're looking out at this Twitter feed and we're thinking, yeah, we've got to do this in our community. And we're thinking, everybody's got a smartphone and the future is already here. This is a William Gibson quote. The future is here, but it's not evenly distributed yet. And we seem to be kind of fine with that. But I want to remind you, this is a couple years old, but 20% of America still isn't online. And that's the most vulnerable 20%, arguably. Thank you. We also think that everybody has a smartphone these days. Actually, there are still 40% of Americans that don't have smartphones. Of the remainder, most people do have low-end cell phones. They do own a cell phone. But that other cell phone, that phone is pretty much good for SMS and voice calls, because anything else is really, really hard to tailor for all the many, many devices that are out there. So these are people who are not going to be able to use your, oh yes, these guys. These are people who will not know why we're looking at two llamas in different colors. By the way, it is white and gold. It is white and gold. So we're like looking at the llamas and we're going, I want to do the llamas for social change. But you're missing the point, because not everybody can do the llamas. Not everybody is there yet. Teenagers know that. US teens send more SMS than anything else. And they send more than any other group, even though the majority of them have smartphones. Why? Because they know they can get everybody. They've got this. They know they can text their grandma and their best friend using an SMS, and they can't get everyone on WhatsApp. We need to look at what people's digital repertoire really is. Where are people? We have to meet them where they are. If we're not doing that, we're not just missing a trick. We're excluding people by failing to include them. If you're running a service and you're not really thinking about who are the people I'm missing, then I think you're widening the digital divide, because you're making it harder for the people on the wrong side of it. These are quotes from an organization who is here this week, who I had this conversation with, and I got their permission to show these quotes. This isn't wrong. This is an opportunity. People are already receiving SMS, but we don't know if they're replying. Or people are texting, but privately with your staff. Ask around. This is happening to your organization. And this is a very clear message. This is an opportunity. We want to be texting you. We have stuff to say. Are you listening? DoSomething.org, who are one of my faves, all-time faves in the world, did listen. And out of their existing SMS program was born Crisis Text Line, because someone texted them and asked for help. And they thought, great. So there are people who want to text us when they need something. There was a group in Oklahoma in 2008 who set up a system using Frontline SMS And they received more text messages asking for help than they had evidence of the incidence of domestic violence in the county for the whole year, because they'd found that sweet spot. It was a really good way to reach people. It's not all about text. It could be something else. It could be radio. But go and ask how people get their information and who they trust. Do that, whatever that is. And you'll reach the people that you want to, the most vulnerable. If you want to talk more about this, the SMS sessions in this conference have been great, and they've been half full. We're still here. If anyone wants to meet me for lunch, we can talk about it. And also, if anybody wants to host a roundtable meeting of technologists and local community organizations in their town, ping me on those details, and I'd be really excited to talk about it. Thank you very much.